All right, what's up, you guys? What is up? How you guys doing? All right, so, anyways, I just wanted to share this with you guys. Yeah, I'm in a good mood, I guess, today. It's a good day. It's a good morning. It's a beautiful day. Summer, baby, July. What? All right, anyways, okay, so I wanted to share this with you guys. I already made a previous video of the most expensive car in the world. And yeah, it's a 60s Ferrari 250 GTO, as you guys can see. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 66. It's either mid 60s to late 60s, either 66, 67, 68, or 69. The previous video to this 250 GTO, I said 60, I meant 66. But yeah, what I was trying to say in the previous video, it's a 60s Ferrari, and I believe it's a 66 Ferrari GTO. Now I could be mistaken. It could, it could be a 67, a 68, or 69. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 66 Ferrari 250 GTO. I've been through so many cars in my life. I've been around so many cars in my life. Um, I have worked on so many cars throughout my life, and I've detailed so many cars throughout my life, and I've driven so many cars, and I've read up a lot about cars. I've learned a lot about them. I studied them. People that know even more than me, growing up from a kid to a young man, I learned a lot from them. And I also learn a lot from programs or TV shows that have to do with cars, um, and online as well, like Jay Leno's Garage, Jay Leno, the big dog, and a lot of educational programs that have to do with cars, from everything from mechanical to electrical to paint and body to detailing to customizing, to fabricating, to modifying, to restoring original or resto modding. In other words, restoration modification, customizing, modifying it, customizing it, fabricating, like I said, basically everything from, you know, from mechanics to master technicians to gearheads and so on, etc. I've gone to school for this, and I've been around this all my life. I own my own detailing business. I just love cars. It's my passion, enormous, huge passion. It's just ginormous. It's like I got a lot of love, for cars. Period. And I'm the kind of car guy or car person that loves all kinds of cars, import, domestic, old and new. I love everything. I love the classics, like I love the new age cars or new modern cars. I love import, like I love domestic. I don't care if it's American or Japanese or Korean or European. I just love cars. Anyways, I just wanted to share this with you guys because this actually is the most expensive car in the world. It goes right now that the market is down, it's a bit low. It still sells for, or the price is still 30 to 40 million dollars, you guys. Yes, the Ferrari 250 GTO, and there's several different versions of the 250 GTO. Um, but basically, this is the one that cost the most. It's the world record holder for the most expensive car in the world. Like I said, if I'm not mistaken, the 66 Ferrari GTO, which is this one right here. Um, and like I said, right now the market is low. It's down, and it's still, the price is still 30 to 40 million dollars. The average, that's the low. The average price when the market is at a normal level or high level, it easily sells for 50 to 60 million dollars. That's the price. If I'm not mistaken, back in 2013 or 2014, um, this Ferrari, the 250 GTO, if I'm not mistaken, sold for, um, I believe it's somewhere between 52.5 to 56.5 million dollars, and that's when it was, a big deal because there's no car in the world that's ever cost that much, and it was at auctions, of course. I used to think it was the Barrett Jackson car auction. I'm not so sure if it was Barrett Jackson car auction. I think it was the other auction. I forget the name. It's very prestigious, very well known um, uh, auction. I can't remember the name right now, but it's about classic vintage nostalgia or nostalgic retro cars, historic cars too, like the one next to it, that blue one that you see, um, or antique cars like that one. Some of them are left all original with the patina, and some of them are fully restored all original. But and then some guys resto mod them and make them into hot rods certain years. Um, Very late 20s, mostly 30s uh, is, well, yeah, usually it's 20s and 30s cars like that, the Fords and stuff like that. They, like the T model and whatever. Just, an example. There's many others besides the T model, but that they make into hot rods. But anyways, my point is that um, the normal price is 50 to 60 million dollars, and I feel like it will appraise, up to anywhere from 60 to 80 million dollars. It's only going to get more expensive. It's only going to cost more. The price is only going to go up. Only going to be more valuable as time goes on. It's just going to be worth a lot more as time goes on. As the years go by, as the decades go by. I foresee that this Ferrari 250 GTO will appraise, and the price will be anywhere between 60 and 80 million dollars, but that's still not the high point, or it's still not maxing out. I foresee, or I predict, I can see this. I don't know why, but I just feel, I believe, I could be mistaken, but I would not be surprised if it does what I believe it will do, or that it can do at least that much. But I believe it will do. I believe I have a vision, like I can see this car hitting $100 million and more, over $100 million and more, $100 million and over. I'm going to say $100 million to be on a conservative side, or 100 million plus dollars. But I think it will probably maybe even go well over $100 million. But I'm going to keep it at $100 million or $100 million plus. I believe, I feel that this Ferrari 250 GTO can appraise, the price can go that high eventually. I believe in the near future or the distant future, but whether it's years or decades from now, but I feel that it's probably going to be in my lifetime, you know, that this car will appraise. And if it doesn't, maybe, afterwards. But I think in the future that this car will appraise and hit $100 million plus. It's that exotic, it's that epic, it's that unique, it's that special. The most expensive car in the world. It's the classic cars, you guys. It's the classic nostalgic or nostalgia vintage retro cars, you know, that are the most expensive cars in the world. Also, the historic antique cars that are the most expensive cars in the world. Well, it's actually all, you could say that. You could say it's all one thing because within reason it is the classic, nostalgia, nostalgic, retro, vintage, historic, antique cars. Those cars are the most expensive cars in the world. It's the collectible cars like this one that, you know, end up being very expensive. And like I said, the most expensive cars in the world. It's not new expensive cars like Bugattis that can sell brand new anywhere from 1 to 5 million plus dollars, like the Bugatti Veyron, the Veyron Sport, the Veyron Super Sport, the new Bugatti. Some people pronounce it Chiron, other people pronounce it Chiron, but it's a new 1500 horsepower Bugatti. That one's probably about $5+ million, and even that one is nothing compared to this one. It doesn't come close. This one is still so much more expensive. This one's tens of millions of dollars. The low on this is $30 million, $30 to $40 million. The average is, like I said, $50 to $60 million, and the high, I would say $60 to $80 million easily. And I think it's going to max out, or maybe not even max, but even the next higher level up will be, I would say, $100+ million. Um, that's what I believe it will hit that $100+ million eventually. But like I was saying, it's the classic cars, you guys. It's the classic, collectible cars that cost the very most amount of money, not new cars. It's the classic cars that are the most expensive cars in the world. Um, and the Bugattis, man, they're awesome. I love Bugattis. The It started off with like 998 horsepower. Then what was it? 1,002 horsepower or 1,001. Then it went up to 1,100 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower. Or the new one now is 1,500 horsepower. But these cars are just so unique, so special, you know, and there's only so many of them. So, you know, they're kind of in high demand in a way, so within reason. So that's why these cars are so expensive. I mean, let's be honest, even if you had a fortune of tens of millions of dollars, you can't afford this. Only people that have hundreds of millions of dollars, a few, not just a couple, but a few, preferably several hundred millions of dollars, like $500 million or more at least. And that's starting, so you can afford to buy this comfortably and not, feel the bite, not feel the pain, because you will feel the sting, financially speaking, if you just don't have enough. You understand? Um, it's not just buying the car, it's the maintenance on this car, it's the insurance on this car, it's the registration on this car, it's the upkeep and everything that you have to do mechanically, electrically, keeping it detailed, keeping it, pristine. So it's all the maintenance, that you also have to think about. So you have to be sitting at least a $500 million or more, preferably, you know, several hundreds of millions of dollars, even more than that, or preferably being a billionaire or well over a billionaire or multi-billionaire. Those are the people that honestly that can afford this car. You have to be sitting at least $500 million or more, preferably $1 billion and up, you know, to be able to really afford this comfortably and not feel, the financial strain of owning this, because this is not for uh, poor people. This is not for broke people. This is not for middle class people. Heck, this isn't even for rich people. This is for very rich people. Millions and tens of millions of dollars is not going to cut it. Even hundreds of millions of dollars won't cut it. You have to be sitting at least $500 million or more, in my opinion. That's how I feel. I believe, I think so. Because the reason I say that and I feel that way and I think that way and is because you want to be smart, and financially speaking, when you do the numbers, that's how much money you would have, honestly. That's what it would take for you to be able to comfortably afford this without, like I said, you hurting yourself financially. You have to be at least sitting at $500 million or preferably be a billionaire or more to be able to afford this. Okay, this is like the ultra rich that can afford cars like this. You know, your average millionaire, even multimillionaire, can't afford this. I mean, it would have to be a big time multimillionaire, several hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to buy this without feeling it. Preferably billionaire or billionaires, would be able to really truly afford this and not even feel it. Because, okay, let's say you have, you know, a couple of $100 million. You know how huge of a percentage this is going to take a bite out of your fortune? Even if you're sitting at a couple $100 million and you buy this for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 million, that's a lot of money. If it's $100 million, that's half of your fortune. That's 50%. Are you really crazy? Are you really going to spend? I mean, you can afford it, but is it smart to do that? Unless you're investing in it and then you're going to sell it to make a huge profit. You're going to sell it for a lot more. And but that takes time. That's not some usually it takes time. It's not right away. you know um, it's something that you enjoy, you sit on for a while, and you take care of it, and then later on when it goes up you sell if you decide to do that, and you make a big profit, enormous profit. But my point is that that's a lot of money on one car, plus the all the upkeep, like I was saying, the maintenance, the insurance, the registration, keeping it nice and everything, keeping it detailed. And this is the kind of car that Larry Casilla would detail, because he details $1 and $2 million Ferraris. He might as well detail this 30 to $100 million Ferrari, because he can do this. This is at the level where someone like Larry Casilla would detail, or Auto Geek would detail with Mike Phillips and AJ and all the team, the detail team, the detailers. Um, so I mean, this is expensive. You know what? I could detail this, but would I want to? I don't know, because anything goes wrong, that's your butt. You're gonna have to pay. So I don't know. You have to really know what you're doing and do a good job when you detail these cars. I mean, I can do it. I know I can if I had to. But the point is that, um, you know, uh, that's a lot of money. That's a huge percentage of your fortune. So that's why I say you want to sit at least at $500 million, because that way, if you spend 30 to $100 million or more buying this, at least you still have an enormous chunk of your fortune left, because this takes a big bite out of it. That's why I'm saying you really want to have a lot more money. You want to be at least a billionaire or much more. That way you don't feel it. You really don't. I mean, if you're sitting at well over $1 billion, you know, then you won't feel it. You know, you're still a billionaire. You still have a lot more left. I mean, more than enough. I mean, and you can afford to do, to buy it, to do all the upkeep, the maintenance, keeping it detailed. You could do everything, and it would not hurt you financially, because you have more than enough, and you constantly are making, more than enough money, because you have so many assets that constantly feed you millions of dollars, or much more. So you're okay. But it's a very expensive car to own and to maintain, to keep. So it's like I said, it really is for the ultra rich. You got to be billionaire or much more, honestly, to be able to afford this, because it's that expensive. Everything, buying it, like I said, insuring it, registering it, maintenance, everything, keeping it detailed. Cars like this isn't cheap to detail, you guys. I mean, Larry Casillo can charge probably like 5 grand or more just to detail this, because he normally charges anywhere between 1 and 3 grand, and I know Auto Geek is similar. So, and 5 grand is probably just the beginning, but it also depends on what the car needs, you know. But that's the average. It could be less, it could be a lot more. But anyhow, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to mention. Um, it's a beautiful Ferrari, and this is a clip. I'm making a video off my first video on this, as you can see. But yeah, I'm very passionate about cars, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. So now you guys know what is the most expensive car in the world, which is, like I said, if I'm not mistaken, the 66 Ferrari 250 GTO. And there's several different versions of the 250, but this is definitely the one that's worth a pretty penny. The most expensive car in the world. It's a world record holder. Before this one, it was the Mercedes-Benz Goldwing, the classic one. I believe from the 50s or 60s. I forget. But then this one came along and surpassed that one. So, but the other one is on this one's heels. It's not that far off. So the other one was basically just probably a few $1 million less than this one. So that Mercedes Goldwing is extremely expensive as well. So there you go. Like I said, now it's the second most expensive car. So it's the Ferrari 250 GTO and the Mercedes Goldwing, the two most expensive cars in the world. And that's a wrap, you guys. I gotta go. I only meant to make a short, quick video and ended up being a long one. I apologize for that. It's gonna take forever to upload, but it's okay. Just wanted to share this with you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. All right, you guys. See ya.